Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday the 22nd of February. We continue to read through Exodus, and in Exodus chapter 5, Moses goes, as God told him to Pharaoh and says to him, the Lord says, let my people go. Pharaoh does exactly the opposite, says not going to happen, and indeed we're not going to give them straw for the bricks, but they've got to keep the quota up. And things get significantly bad for the Israelites as they struggle to meet the requirements that is imposed upon them. The Israelite overseers go to Pharaoh and say, this is unfair. And Pharaoh's response to them in verse 17 is, lazy, that's what you are, lazy. That is why you keep saying, let us go and sacrifice to the Lord. Now get to work. You'll not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks. The Israelite overseers realized they were in trouble when they were told, you're not to reduce the number of bricks required of you each day. So they go to Pharaoh, and it doesn't improve the situation, and they realize this is where they are. When they left Pharaoh, we're told, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them. And they said, may the Lord look on you and judge you. You have made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials, and have put a sword in their hand to kill us. And that struck me because we know the story of Exodus and how it all turns out, and it all turns out wonderful. At this point, Moses was being faithful to God, doing what God told him to do, and it seemed to have exactly the opposite effect. The Israelites were not free. Their situation was materially worse than it was before he went to see Pharaoh. And he hadn't endeared himself to the people. They didn't recognize him as a great leader. He was now just a troublemaker. And it got me to realize that sometimes being faithful to God, we expect that things will get better for us now. Whereas sometimes we have to live through Exodus chapter 5 before we get to Exodus chapter 14. That's coming, but we're not there yet. And so I pray that as you walk faithfully with God, when you're doing that and things seem to go wrong and things seem not to work out, and you think, this isn't what I was expecting God to do, we remain faithful to God because we recognize sometimes his plans and his purposes and the route he leads us on are inexplicable, complex, and sometimes just plain confusing. And so if you're in that confusion, be encouraged. Hold fast to God and know that in life we have to go through Exodus chapter 5 before we get to Exodus chapter 14. Remain faithful. Keep walking with God. Keep trusting him despite the situation that we find ourselves in, knowing that as we walk with him, we will ultimately be blessed.